call this meeting to order for the January 11th, 2023 board meeting.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Appoint town board chairman for 2023.
You want to do it again?
Oh, yeah.
I'll make a motion to appoint Paul Schoenecker as board chair again this year.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and carried. All in favor, say aye.
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 Speaker from the sheriff's office. So Mike, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. I just want to let you know that we want to have the transition over from the St. Paul Park Police Department over to the sheriff's office. Pretty much smooth. We didn't have any issues with the 911 transfer systems going, our record management systems and stuff. So just kind of nice to be able to kind of give you some of that feedback. And so we're obviously on board moving into 2023 for this year. Like I said, the last meeting that we were going to start doing that transition a little earlier. We wanted to do it, I believe it was like on the 26th or 27th, just to make sure we troubleshooted any problems and stuff like that. So it seemed to work really well, and we're continuing working for you here just with that. With that being said, we're going to start looking at bringing statistics for you, and you're going to start getting that email. I believe it probably will go to City, I believe.
Well, we're going to new clerk. It was Cheryl, now it's
Cheryl?
Pam.
Okay,
Now
Pam.
it's Pam.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll try to grab, I'll get my business card to Pam here and stuff, so,
Okay.
so we can be able to get you some updated statistics and stuff like that for what's going on in the community. Within that newsletter, we like to add any type of highlight calls that we might have had, your calls for service, that type of thing. And so you'll be getting those monthly newsletters, and so you can discuss them at your meetings and stuff too. So. With that being said, I will be appointing a sergeant as a representative to be able to address any concerns that might be coming down the line. I'm currently in the motion of moving some different assignments around and stuff, and so that'll be coming up here before too long and stuff. So in short, that's kind of what we have for you so far. We've had a few calls for service out here, but it's been pretty good so far this quiet season. So, and with that being said, Happy New Year to you.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. Hey, can I ask you next? You got a question?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, one, just send your contact information to Cheryl. I had your phone number, that's why I called you. I didn't know if it was the, Pam, I didn't know if it was the right one or not, but send your email and contact.
Yeah.
If you're the one we're supposed to contact. I
Yep,
think
I'll be
you
the
are.
start, and then we'll move from there.
Okay, and then we talked a little before, I was gonna ask them about noise complaints, how they respond, what they recommend to us, if you can do anything with their existing ordinances, or, you know, just how that works on their end.
And so what we'll do is we'll enforce whatever the township is looking for. It's whatever ordinances you do have in place, and some of it we run into issues with setting decibel limits and things like that with us not having capabilities of a decibel reader. And those that we've had in the past, we've had some issues with it going into the court. And so whatever we'd be looking at for trying to enforce it, we can. Typically what we've seen, especially with some townships that don't have ordinances in place, we will see certain, especially like VRBOs, rentals, or event centers and stuff like that, they'll set conditional use permits for them to allow during certain operations and stuff like that. So I've seen that across the page. You know, I know I've talked with Mr. Desvig, and he's provided some different options and stuff like that for ordinances in different cities that do different things and stuff too. So there's a couple different options, and whatever it is that you're looking for from the township, we'll enforce on your behalf. And we can have definitely many different dialogues down the line as we develop this and stuff too, on what's going to work best. Just a decision you want to go. So typically our deputies, how they look at it is going, especially if you don't have anything in place, we would look at it under the facility contact statute. Typically we would try to ask and mediate, navigate that, you know, if you can lower the noise down, have a complaint from a local resident type of thing. And if we're having continued issues, then that's where a citation can be issued, which would be a criminal violation. So, like I said, whatever the township decides, we'll definitely know.
Okay, I want to clarify one thing. So Mr. Desday and his son live in St. Paul Park.
Correct.
They are not township residents.
Correct.
Okay. And thank you for making the decision to work with us, and I really appreciate it. And Happy New Year.
Thank you, Chairman. Now, stand for any other questions?
I was gonna ask the noise too, so perfect, it worked out.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
You don't have to hang around.
Do you still have officers patrolling south of 94 and north of 94, or are there 3 zones now?
So the question is if we have officers covering north of 94 and south of 94. So we do. We have deputies that are assigned. We call it the south zone, so everything south of 94. Additionally, one of the things that we were able to acquire this year was 3 additional deputies. On top of a couple extra we're able to go over. So we're creating the southeast and the southwest zone. And so as we start bringing those staffing on, get them trained, it can take up to 14 weeks, depending on when we can get them on for training, and then we're able to start building and stuff. So, yep. So hopefully be able to provide that at least by March next, start seeing some additional coverage down here. So, yep.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Next order of business is the appointment of committees and commissions.
I was looking at it's on our website, this page. That's got to be updated. Want to go over these one at a time, make sure they're current? Or do you want to do this?
Sure.
Okay, I'll go. The supervisors look okay. Amy Ohmann. And officials, we got Pam Dubray, that's been changed. Scott Leick, treasurer, that'll end up being changed. I would assume, let's put it that way. Planning commission, I don't know if they're up to date. We've got Eduardo and Ryan and Caleb and Amy and Jake.
Sound right?
Sound good? Okay. South Washington County Telecommunications. We got Jerry Tobby, and I don't think he's an alternate anymore. I think he just plain quit on it. You got Dan listed as on there.
You're doing that.
He quit, bailed it out, put me in there.
As what?
Yeah, South Washington County Telecommunications.
Okay.
Sanitary, we got Patty, that's what, that changed. Town Hall Committee, do we even need that, or you want to just scratch that? We don't really have a Town Hall Committee. We don't even have a Town Hall coming. And I don't think we're going to build a new one.
Well, I think you're probably right.
Let's scratch that one off there. Communication Committee, we got Paul. Cheryl's name is on there, that'd probably be Pam now on.
Communication committee?
Yeah, Communications Committee.
Is that
Eduardo and Pam Glovka. Is Pam on that? I don't even know what they do.
I don't know.
We have to find out about Pam on that, Pam Glovka. Lucas. Road Committee, got Paul, Road Boss, Ann Spaskowitz.
Do you still want El Sheka on there?
If you'll do it, I prefer to have him on there.
What happened to Peterson?
He quit, didn't he?
Well, he moved out of the township and quit.
Oh, okay.
who's road boss?
Can't stress it.
Did you want to put El Sheka on there?
He's on there. Do we want him on there yet?
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah,
He's happy.
and he knows what he's doing. That animal control officer, we got that listed on our website. Do we want a phone number there, or do we want the animal control people to call the clerk, and we call animal control?
No, the clerk is to call.
Why don't we put that under that then? There are a person, but call clerk first, or call clerk for animals.
I think you call the police first.
Well,
I think I know the process now.
okay.
You call 911, whatever, and then the police contact. I think that's what we're supposed to do.
If it's
I would
a,
assume emergency or not emergency, different scenarios too would probably have to play by ear.
yeah, it depends on the scenario, but if you found like a wandering dog, then you would, call 911, and, that's Washington County Dispatch. They will check to see if anyone has reported a dog missing. And then you can call, Companion Animal Control, and they'll come out and get the dog.
Yeah, push the red button.
Do you want me to repeat all that?
No.
Okay.
So we want to put something in there, a phone number.
Maybe just write
whatever.
emergency 911
Yeah.
and then have town clerk's number underneath that.
Oh, it's
Okay. Next one, official newspaper, Pioneer Press, weed inspector, Ted Reese, code enforcement officer, contact the clerk. Building inspector, have to change that, we got cottage grove, that'll have to be changed. Township attorney, Dave Snyder. Website coordinator, we got Cheryl. Still doing that, or that'll be Pam too, okay. Then we got consulting, planning engineering, SHC consulting. I'll make a motion, we go with the ones we just read off here.
Okay,
Second that motion.
All in favor?
motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Say aye.
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 I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes from December 14th.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the minutes from December 14. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Who's got the treasurer's report?
We got kind of a condensed version,
Yep.
then I got a longer version here.
Oh, here, do the condensed version.
Okay. Our actual treasurer isn't here. So I'll make a motion, we approve what he did send us. It came up with an ending total of $484,496.
Second. Motion been made and seconded to approve
Treasurer's report.
treasurer's report. All in favor, say aye.
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 Do we need to,
Yeah.
do we need to do that yellow? Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks, Dan.
well, we can do that after. Okay, Scott asked us to approve moving money around from unallocated, 18,000 to general purpose, 18,000 to road and bridge. I'll make a motion to approve them two figures.
I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're good?
We're good.
Let's pay the bills.
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills totaling $6,533.87.
I'll second that.
Any questions about these bills for anybody?
Nope, not for me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Huh. Reports of committees, meetings, and events. Planning Commission report.
I might have to push the button to turn that thing on.
I will push the
Or
button.
check it.
It
Or
looks
just
green.
try it, then just-
Audio's all right? All right, so I think audio is good. Good afternoon, everyone. Try to make it brief. We met on Monday, well-attended meeting. Mr. Polta was in attendance, so he's gonna keep me honest to see that I don't miss anything. We had to, per our ordinance, we had to elect a chairperson. I got elected to lead this mighty group for the year. It'll be an
Oh,
honor to do so.
congratulations.
Absolutely.
Surprise.
We were chairless
Yeah.
last year. We operated trying to leverage everybody, but I wanted to make sure that we were following the ordinance. There's also in the ordinance a written report we actually had to turn in at the annual meeting, which I don't think has been done in the past, but we intend to do so with the summary of all the activity that has been done. At least that is in the ordinance. If not, we can change it if it's not necessary.
No, I think it's
It's a
necessary.
good idea.
Yeah, it's a really good idea.
Wonderful. Then we moved on to the clarifying some of the processes that we've got with our new awesome town clerk. And then we talked about the updates associated with the 2023 administrative permit of the mining company. As you know, we've, with your support, secured SHC to actually take a look at all the documents, review them, give us options, and then help us draft any of the language that we want to include in that permit. That process has been initiated. Wanted to provide an update. We've had some discussion that we're setting some expectations with SHC. We decided they think that they're going to have a preliminary report for us on the 30th of this month, so in a couple of weeks. So we actually extended the meeting until that time, so we can have what they call a working conversation or working meeting about it. It's not to draw conclusions, it's just to bring the planning commission up to speed on what's gone on, what they've seen and so on, so they can put their head around the action that will take place, hopefully in about 10 days after that. So we're aiming, at least that's the aim right now, to have a recommendation for you, a well understood and sort of digested recommendation by next planning commission, which will be brought up to you by next month. You're welcome to attend. The intent is to see where they're at in their deliberation, or they come up with some other items that we need to be made aware of. So that was basically the extent of the discussion, because we didn't want to get into the review itself. This is why we hired them. Had a meeting with them online, and it's very clear that they think that they could get it done in about 20 to 25 hours worth of work. So, given the extensive review that we've done in the past. Let me know if there's any questions.
So we have an unfinished business. We have Wholesome mining permit for Larson Quarry, and then we have Wholesome mining permit with Washington County. Are we not going to do the Larson Quarry, but we would potentially do the permit with Washington County? Is that what we're thinking here?
I would think, unless Pam is thinking differently, and that we actually talked about it at the meeting, that both of those are just basically on hold until the review is done, and then the recommendations come back in. Is that your understanding?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now we don't need to initiate discussion on that unless you've got some questions, because that's why we've hired them to review all of it. So I think these may be carrying over from the last time, but there's no discussion for them today. There's no new finished work for you to review on that topic, and I strongly advise you on taking action on them right now, because that's why we're hiring those guys to give some advice.
Understood.
So that, do you think we'll see like an email or something on that 30th, or is that an in-person meeting you guys think you'll have?
What we did, and it's reflected in the minutes, is that extended the meeting, so we didn't close the meeting, and we're extending it until the 30th, only on that agenda item, and it'll be at 6:30.
Okay.
I believe that is.
On the 30th?
On the 30th, yes.
That was actually at SHC's request.
Perfect.
And it's in person?
Yes, it's going to be here in the
Yes.
town hall.
And I already notified them of that and copied the town clerk, Pam. One of the things that we're really trying to do is make sure that all the correspondence and all the documentation goes to the town clerk. That way there's one clearinghouse, one point of contact. Okay?
And that's at 6:30?
Yeah. Yep.
That's the plan. And I just want to preface it, I think you probably recognize it, that it's a working meeting. There's not going to be any conclusions, is that this is where we're at with it. I just didn't want to wait until the next planning commission and then have to wait yet another month.
Yeah.
So, and they thought that they would have it, what they call substantially complete, the analysis. So they're going to say, this is where we're at. Get your head around these concepts, this is where we're at. We will give you some final options and variables by the next planning commission, which we then we'll have a debate about and bring to you with recommendations.
Okay.
Yeah, this gives them a couple weeks from the 30th till their meeting in case there's more information they want or need or clarification, what have you.
Check.
Sounds good.
Did you get a copy of that ordinance that came out from Gordy? Did you happen to see the email? Maybe that we could just get that on the agenda for the planning commission for next month to take a read through it and see if there's anything good or bad on it.
What's it about?
That'd be a noise ordinance.
The noise.
Oh, yeah, no, I just looked at that and
recently.
responded on that. I can do it again. We can have the discussion again if need be.
Maybe just to have a discussion.
Yeah. Absolutely, we can put it on the agenda. If you'd like, this is, I mean, we work for you, so
Yeah.
if you want it on the agenda again, we can have the discussion again.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I didn't give Eduardo a copy of this last ordinance that I sent to you folks because at the December meeting, he indicated, and it's in his minutes, that they were gonna, on this interim use permit situation, they were gonna continue with the state pollution control agency, that decibel rule. And he said that in the minutes, if the board wants to go with some additional things, they're free to do so. And so they've kind of done their job on this, so there's no reason the board can't proceed tonight with the ordinance that I presented. It does not have to go back to the planning commission because they've already said they were done with it. So I'd like to see it just go forward.
Yeah, and I mean, that is accurate. What we've put in writing is that we wrote a memo, you said proceed that way, that we were going to be pursuing, including and bringing parity between actually all the ordinances we've got on the inclusion of the Minnesota Pollution Control Standard, which is the same thing that at least I can find in our adjacent municipality. There's other municipalities that put other constraints and other restraints. We didn't think that those are necessary, nor are they granted or warranted given the level of complaints we've got. If you want to take action on it, it's entirely up to you. All right, so that is, give me just 1 second, get oriented. And under old business, we did have a small discussion around the fact that another ordinance we're working on, we have commissioned TKDA to work on, is the Mississippi River Corridor Critical Area Ordinance. TKDA is working on that on our behalf. Remember that they came up with it, give us a briefing on it, they run it by DNR. Actually, I think it is just today that they wrote back saying that they've heard from the DNR with no substantial changes. Now they've got a schedule. I just haven't had time to look at it, but we'll look at it at the next planning commission for sure. They've got a schedule of things that we have to do, some of the things that we have to include in order for that work to get wrapped up, so you can be presented to you and you can say you want to adopt it, not adopt it, make changes, and so on. We're still within the timeline that they wanted. They wanted it done sort of by March, so you've got some time to digest it and consume it. Tom sent you a copy, or asked Pam to send you a copy of that for your review. And then there's also a cheat sheet that is kind of like the what does this mean? Because the ordinance is, I don't know, 20, 30 pages, but what does it mean for the residents and how can they understand what would get adopted, and then how do we put it in play, right? Ordinances mean new rules, how the heck do we enforce them?
Well, and that's, the other thing is we have to have a public meeting
We do.
for ordinance.
Correct. There's a process by which, once you say this is what we wanna, how we wanna proceed, then there's the public hearing and so on.
Yeah, so we'd have to set up a public hearing for this month.
It doesn't
Well,
mean-
I think when this first started out, TKDA gave us a bunch of steps.
Oh.
So the steps are all in place, it's just the dates, and
Yep.
they're working through, say there's 6 steps, they're on step 3 right now or something
Right.
like that.
So,
So we really don't have to worry about it.
yeah, I misspoke. I'm talking about the noise ordinance. That one has to have a public hearing also.
My understanding, and we've got our legal representatives here, but my understanding is that any ordinance that you choose to adopt have a hearing or public process.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. On this particular one, the review is being done by DNR. They actually came back with a schedule that includes all the elements associated with the public hearings and so on. So we, again, just got it back today. So we'll review it, present it to you. I think we're in good shape.
Yeah, okay, sounds good.
No problem. So we had that discussion, and then Mr. Polta gave us the output of some of the work that he's been doing in order to try to review other municipalities' ordinances and see if he can include some of the IUP work that we've got in limbo. We've had a short discussion about what he found in Denmark, the things he liked, some of the things that we can move into it. Got distributed to all the members for review, and we will talk about it next time.
Okay.
And that is all I've got. Work on the emergency mitigation plan still continues. There's nothing to review yet, but it is in the pipeline, not forgotten.
I thought we had adopted the Washington County emergency plan years ago.
I think we have, but you actually asked us to look at the emergency mitigation planning. And that's the work that Ray had initiated, but it was not complete. And one of the planning commission members volunteered to do that, work with Ray on that to try to get it substantially complete.
Yeah, I know, right there.
There you go. I'm just doing a call now.
Oh, I have
Stick around a minute, as long as you're in that part. Now we got a question for Dave over here. Okay, when we're talking about these conditional use permits, interim use permits, certificate of compliance, you suggested we don't use the conditional use permits. And what I was doing is looking at Denmark stuff, all the stuff they got. And they got a whole list of acceptable uses, non-uses and all that. And they're doing everything, they're doing hardly nothing with an interim use permit. They're doing them all with a certificate of compliance. Does that make sense to you? It must work for them.
Well, it's not that I would suggest not using conditional use permits. They're a very important part of it. It's just that if you imagine them in at three levels: conditional use permit, interim use permit, certificate of compliance. Any given use could have its proper place, as one of those permits. It's just that, for example, a conditional use permit, typically what gets put into a conditional use permit bucket are more permanent uses, things that everybody knows and wants to be kind of permanent. Those are often like mining or installing a large pole building or something. That goes into the conditional use permit bucket. An interim use is something that, for example, the township wishes and the owner is agreeable to having on a limited time basis. So that might be somebody operating a repair shop out of their garage or something. You only want it to run for 3 to 5 years and you want really tight control. Certificates of compliance are ones where you say, we don't want to have a really heavy regulatory hand here. If a person meets some basic criteria, the building official can give them a certificate of compliance for it. And a COC might be something like grading, small grading projects or other less intensive uses. So they all have their place. I would not suggest you do away with any of them. I would just suggest that you think about what you want to have in each bucket. So.
Okay, what I did, I kind of stole I plagiarized from Denmark. And, we're trying to redo our ordinance here without adopting their whole ordinance, because my typing skills aren't that wonderful. So I stole out of theirs and come up with a thing. So you answered what we're looking for. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. Is that good?
Yep.
Thank you. Thanks for all the support.
The next planning commission meeting is Monday, February 6th at 6:30. The next town board meeting is Wednesday, February 8th at 7 p.m. The 2023 annual town meeting, Tuesday, March 14th. Do we have a time frame on that?
I think that's set by law, isn't it? Does it have to be
Yeah.
at 7 or 8 or something? No?
I think we'd have to look. It's usually 6:30, I think.
8 o'clock,
8 p.m.
8 o'clock on the annual meeting, it always has been.
That might be by law.
I think so.
We'll make it 8 o'clock.
Oh,
It's supposed to be after polls close.
What's that?
I think it's supposed to be later after polls close.
Oh, that's what it is. That's where the 8 comes, because the polls close. We used to have an election at 7.
You still do. No, you don't.
No, we don't.
Not anymore.
So could we have it at 7, you think, Dave? We're getting older, I'm going to go to bed.
I think you could, please don't hold me to that, because I don't have the statute in front of me. But I think all you've got to be concerned about is the date, and then making sure that if it happens after polls close.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
do 7 o'clock
7.
then.
You can fix it in February.
Okay,
Yeah, there we go, yeah.
set the date for the Board of Audit meeting.
You two have any
I've got-
preferred day?
Hang on. I've got continuing education for school coming up. I got 40 hours of night school.
We don't want you missing that.
When is it?
When do you guys want to do it?
When is your,
It's the next, basically January, February.
Every night?
5 to 9, 3 nights a week.
Oh, which night don't you have?
Well, we can come back to that in a minute. I'm trying to find it. You guys want to do it in January or February?
Well, January if we can, while Scott's still around.
So I got school the 12th, 17th, 19th, 24th, 26th, and 31st.
Can you do it the 18th?
Yep.
How about January 18th? That work?
Usually have.
Next week, next Wednesday.
So time frame?
1/18, 20, 6:30?
6:30?
6, yeah.
Okay,
Are we doing that here?
Yeah.
yeah. Any other committees, event stuff to talk about? Okay, let's move on, unfinished business. So the wholesome mining permit for Larson Quarry, I would just like to, and I know we're not gonna be able to do anything with these tonight, but I'm wondering if Wholesome has made a decision on the time frame of our lease for this building.
Go up there.
Sure.
If you go back into the minutes, it's, I think, a couple meetings ago, I committed to try and get you guys an answer on some certainty with the town hall. Some things have transpired since then. I mean, what was acceptable for me to do in October has now suddenly come into question. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty here. So in fairness, you know, you're asking me to commit to a year or 5 years or whatever, and I just need the dust to settle here so I can plan and then I'll get back to you. So
Okay.
I'm fully interested in working with you guys. I'm confident we can work something out. I have no reason to put you out and have the place empty, right? But there's a lot of uncertainty right now, and I can't commit to long things until we get through this process, this
Sure.
permit and this 5-year CUP,
Yeah.
and then I'm happy to revisit if that's right.
Understood.
Sounds fine, thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Is that what the town hall thing is next?
I don't know what the town hall thing is. Oh,
Is that
maybe
your
that
speech day? We got it.
Or is town hall, that for the new town hall maybe, or?
No, that's just, it's on there because you had
Okay,
brought it up.
still trying to figure out, well, I think we gotta figure out, we're gonna build a new town hall or we're not gonna build a new town hall. I'm pretty much assured we're not gonna build a new town hall, we don't have any money, or enough money, let's put it this way. We asked people about building it, Cheryl sent out a thing, half of them came back, build one, half come back, don't build one. Basically, right now, we got somewhere around $500,000 in the bank, and, you know, a lot of people are saying, don't burn it up building a town hall. I've done some checking around, and we can use any of the school buildings in District 833 for $4.25 an hour. And they have an indoor toilet, running water, lights, and heat. So, you know.
Careful on the prices, Tom might raise our price.
So that's probably, any questions on that or any people's opinion on that?
And that'd be as close as Nuevas, right? Right at the car wash there,
Yeah.
basically? So it's really
Yeah,
not.
Nuevas is probably where we go. So. We get a good deal because we're a nonprofit and a resident, and so you get a better deal than if somebody walked in off the street and wanted to rent a room.
Hey Dick,
Yeah,
do you know if Nueces has
No,
I don't think so, no.
the, okay, the
No,
equipment for,
it'd be no different
No,
than
they
here.
don't.
no different than here for,
It'd actually probably be worse than here because the cable people put in the microphones and stuff like that, which we wouldn't have there. But we'd probably be in, I'm guessing, the library there, they call it media center. And I've been in there and it's pretty quiet, you don't have the furnace running. And the
We could
mics-
look at Pullman and stuff too. I mean, there's some options that have it that really aren't that far either, so.
Yeah.
It's not like we'd be driving 20 minutes for a meeting.
And like I asked her, how easy is it to get a room? And she, and she says, pretty easy. She says, especially at New Avis, that's one of the least used schools at night. She said be after 6:30 at night, because that's when they use it for school functions up until 6:30, so anytime after that, which is when our meetings are anyway. And even if the media center's busy, you got classrooms all over, you got an auditorium in there, theater, so. But anyway, that's all I got on that.
Are we taking that off the agenda then?
Well, we'll leave it on there until we decide what we're gonna do.
we'll leave it on there till Tom
Yeah.
gets back to us.
Well, it's just we ain't backed into a corner. We don't have to worry about, if a year and a half comes from now and we have nowhere to go, we do have somewhere to go, so. Or nowhere to stay, let's put it that way.
The next item is permit fee schedules.
I thought those look pretty good. It's definitely a big change from what we've been doing. But it's not unreasonable
No.
pricing or
it's
anything
not.
like that.
No.
Now, I had a question on these. Okay, now, the fees we got, them came from you, I'm guessing? Are you an inspector?
Scott from Minnesota?
Yeah, okay. And then we still get our $25 application fee, is that what's gonna happen? And then I was wondering too, we just gotta get it nice and clear in our ordinance or in our website, what people have to do, and probably put this fee schedule in there, along with people knowing they're gonna pay $25 to us for processing plus this fee schedule?
Yeah, so Pam would have all of the permits, including electrical.
Hopefully they'll be on the website,
Oh, okay,
okay? And
that would
we're
work.
currently working with MinSpec to get that done.
Okay,
I'm waiting on you guys to approve the fee schedule.
oh,
And
yeah,
then, some things, the permit apps are being, hopefully drawn up at this moment, and then, some training on the clerk's part.
okay.
Well, I'll make a motion, we approve the fee schedule given to us by the inspector.
I'll second that.
Okay,
There were a couple items outstanding on the fee schedule. One was, data practices requests. Like an hourly fee to charge back for data practices requests. And then also someone had suggested rounding the dog license fee up to $10. So I didn't,
Scott did.
yeah,
He's your treasurer.
yeah.
Well, that's different than the MinSpec fee schedule, right? That'd be a separate issue?
I didn't know if you wanted to consider it all one
let's do them separately.
Okay.
One is just an inspect,
Okay.
the other is our fees and our, so, let's vote on that then.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to accept the permit fee schedule from,
Depends from this side.
From the
from the
inspect.
inspect, yep.
And who motion to the second?
Dick first, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I'm supposed to say that.
These two guys. Oh, no, I don't care. Don't care.
Gotta train one of us.
Yeah.
Did you wanna
Okay.
talk, she wanna talk about her other things then too?
The fee.
Or you wanna do that in new business?
Would we need a motion to change the dog thing? Can we do that under other?
Other in
Change the dog.
Yes.
business?
Well, what? Didn't this have some clerk stuff for the hourly rate for that? Should we put that all in one?
What we looked at last month had an hourly rate for data practices requests.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have that in front of you or not.
I was looking at it on
Sorry, guys.
I don't, you have a suggestion, you do?
I can't remember exactly. We're gonna have to table it. I remember what came back with that.
Okay, wanna do it next month? Get it together, figure out what you wanna come up with?
I don't remember we decided on that.
February.
On the lead. Table it.
Okay, we'll move on to 5590 99th Street.
Hi, I'm Karen Moe, I'm Tracy Moe's daughter. And it seems like we didn't have a real plan of action up until now as far as what to do and when to do it and who's responsible. So I put together a plan. I think my dad would agree that that's acceptable to him. My brother's here as well, and my mom, for us to get the property cleaned up and to do it in a timely manner.
And your name is?
Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Okay, the question I got is there a clear understanding on the hose part of what's expected from our code enforcement people? And is there, and our code enforcement, that's you?
That would be me.
Okay, we'll have you talk on this too then. I just don't want, in the past, there's been some gray area. Well, I wasn't clear on this, I didn't get this letter, we got that letter, he did this, she did this. I want it nice and clear what the township's expectations are. I want it clear that you people understand what the township's expectations are and go from there. Not gray areas where this gets drug out for, well, this started in April, so we ain't moving right along. Go ahead, Tracy.
Go ahead, Tracy.
I'm a property owner, that's my wife, and I've been busy, got some good news, I got a lot of stuff out, and I understand the ordinance all right, I think, so I've been hauling things out. I've sent in some correspondence to the town clerk, explaining some of my things I got going on. It's probably been sent to you, I don't know if you need to talk about that too much now.
No, we got them all.
But the junk I'm getting out, and maybe you can scrounge up another load. The recycling company likes to have 500 pound minimum, so I might be able to get another 500 pounds of scrap iron. And then, well, I should also mention that some of the new stuff that we got, like 2x4s, 16 feet long, we've got Habitat for Humanity coming out on the 26th of this month to pick up what they want.
Oh,
So,
good.
give them a chance. I also been in contact with Cars for Kids, because I donate a couple things, and one other organization for boats for kids. No, excuse me, that's not for kids. Another organization that'll take boats. So we've got working on that. I think we got another plan too. My boy wants to get involved with. He wants to talk about it. Having a contractor just come out.
Yeah, I got about 25 guys and some heavy equipment that'll be available in the middle of February, so that should get a big dent in it.
Okay. Are you still thinking of a fence?
When I looked at, and I sent in some things showing the west side, which was a matter of concern, and the north side, I don't think is necessary. I do want to have a garden in the area, so I want to fence around the garden. I explain how animals will come in and devastate a crop sometimes.
And it won't be necessary when we're finished.
Okay.
So I called in some garden dirt, and I plan on moving that in the spring. But I think there was a misunderstanding probably by a neighbor that I want to raise the grade of my driveway. I don't know if I need a permit to spread out some gravel base on a driveway and raise it up a few inches, so when you plow the snow, it falls off instead of piling up high.
Yeah.
And most of that, I'd say 95% of that's for my own personal driveway, not the joint driveway share with a neighbor. And I abandoned that project on, there's potholes developing from stumps underneath that are rotting up, and I've been filling in manually for probably 40 years. I thought a better solution was to dig them up, fill them in, and compact it with gravel. But I put that on hold. Abandoned the contractor quit. I was hired to do it. Status of it. My daughter, I want to say one more thing.
Well, I did put our contact information at the top of the form if you have any other questions or concerns.
Here's what I kind of think is that, I mean, obviously it's winter too. I think it's very good to see people come get involved. But I'm thinking maybe that like May 10th would be a board meeting, that snow should be done by the end of April. They should have, or for beginning of April roughly, they'd have the whole month of April too, and then we take a good look at it and start next year fresh.
Yeah,
I don't know, I think we need to get a date on this.
It's a lot easier in a snow condition.
there's not near as much complaining when it's buried in snow either. Here would be my suggestion, not know what you guys think, along with Dan. Obviously, you two plan on cleaning it up or taking care of it, and voluntary compliance is the best thing. We've spent about $5,000 with this guy up at the Y and his junk. We don't really want to have to do that again if we don't have to. But there got to be a misunderstanding up there. We would tell him, this box truck has to go. Well, he'd come back, well, that ain't the box truck, that's this is this. You know, there was no agreement on what was what. So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to wait, see how you guys do up until, you know, the snow's gone, probably somewhere around the first part of May. And if you don't have it cleaned up by then I'd like to send our code enforcement guy down. But this time, instead of like we did up there, we wrote what had to be gone. I'd like to see pictures be taken, and every piece of junk in picture one goes, you know, so there's no guesswork as to what we're talking about. Because we ran into that up at the Y. There was letters back and forth on what the code enforcement guy, what he called it, what they called it. So if we, you know, give you till sometime around the middle of April, 1st of May, see where it's at. If it ain't cleaned up, send him over, take pictures. He can send you a thing, this is our expectations, and we'd like to see them done in whatever amount of time we come up with at the time. How's that sound to you two?
Yeah, just so we're, I mean, clear, I know we're seeing a lot of emails come back. We're not here to judge what you like, what you don't like. You know, everyone's got different opinions. What we want to see is stuff put into sheds, put into garages. We want, when you drive by your property or neighboring property, it's clean from the outside, it's respectable. So we're not trying to, we don't need to see a ton of pictures of different stuff going on. We need a respectable property, and then, I mean, that's what we've been, not last summer, not anything really never happened. So we'll work with you guys, give you some time here, and then that May, it's gonna be a fast process if it's not in a reasonable manner. We just can't drag it out for the neighbors in the area.
And us three ain't interested in going down there and arguing with you on what's good and what's bad. That's what we hire him for, and he turns it into that guy, and that guy takes it to the court, and the guy that determines what's good or bad, you call him your honor.
I think we've got the philosophy now that when in doubt, we throw it out, so won't be much to look at.
Did Dad go with that too, or just the kids?
Unanimous.
Okay, thanks.
Dave, do you have anything?
Sounds very promising. Always
Okay.
great to see a family involved and helping.
Thank you. On to new business, resolution 2023-1 to codify ordinance 59. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, what do you call it?
Codify.
Codify that ordinance.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to, for resolution 2023-1, resolution to codify ordinance 59, town officer compensation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we will bypass. What? No, he knows what's going on. Treasurer appointment.
We have records of destruction.
Records of destruction and dog license fee.
Oh,
Yeah, well, I do have the fees here, but we still don't know for sure what and if we wanna charge for the data.
Oh, I did that, so we can charge.
We can charge, okay, we can talk about it.
why don't we do them all next month? Get them all together. Anyway, you're in no hurry and get them organized.
She's got it all together.
I think there's more stuff too you got, don't you? Are you all done?
It's already here.
No.
Oh, okay.
So, and is this, this will take a public meeting, because that's an ordinance, the dog?
No, it's just fees that we charge.
Oh, okay,
Township charges for basic things. Like the dog license.
yeah.
We've got the application for building permit, $25, application for variance, $25, variance, cost of hearing, plus expenses. This is all, that's always been there. Application for mining permit, $25. The application for dog, we'd like to change that from 9 to 10.
That's pretty tough.
I'm hearing you. And then the data practices, well, oh, here we go, dangerous dog registration. We have not had a fee for that.
I think we should have that should be $100 fee.
Okay. And then, small wireless facility, I'm not sure what that is. What is that?
I think that's a cell tower, isn't it?
That's a large
That's
one.
big.
Small wireless is 5G,
Oh,
so they're,
we don't even have any, do we?
Oh, it came up with the cable company, is that it?
No, that's,
We wouldn't even pay that.
that's the right of way for
last year we adopted a
the right of way.
small wireless ordinance to cover.
Well, right away ordinance, right?
We did that too, but there's also a small wireless ordinance.
Oh,
And
okay.
part of it is the small wireless for 5G. And they're more dense than like 3G or 4G. So there would be more of them around. We haven't had them come down here with it yet, so,
Just leave that as is.
well, we've got nothing in
Oh, I
there.
got nothing.
The other permit fees are $25.
I'll make it 25 bucks.
Okay,
Yeah, okay,
all right?
so let's have a motion.
We don't need
What,
that.
one last, we're not done yet. So we got the ROW permit 75, zoning amendment application.
I've never received one, but I didn't find a fee anywhere for it.
Nothing in there now.
Oh,
You can either get rid of it or
Well, we can't get rid of it.
throw something in it then,
$25.
okay.
yeah.
Then the data practices request we can charge per hour or something for the clerk time to gather stuff.
25, 30?
An
I think
hour?
we used to do, yeah.
Well,
think
just the standard, whatever your standard hourly rate is right now.
I don't have one.
Is there a reasonable
Yeah.
time, like,
She's not paid hourly,
Oh,
she's salaried.
So this would be,
What about 20?
Okay.
It doesn't come back to her, it comes back to the township, but
oh,
20?
yep.
Okay,
yeah.
so
Sounds good.
that's that. Do you have to,
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the fee schedule Pam came up with.
Second that.
I got a question on the dog thing.
Yeah.
With the $100 that they have to give for dangerous dog, do they have to have proof that their insurance company is covering it?
yes.
Okay.
I missed it. Do you know what it means? First, motion and second?
Who made the motion?
Dick, and I seconded.
Thanks.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to accept the new fees. All in favor, say aye.
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 So-
Okay, treasurer's appointment. Treasurer appointment.
We still miss the records destruction report.
Item C, sir.
Read off your records of destruction you want to do, so we can get that done before we skip it again.
Yeah, I sent it to you guys in
Yeah.
December.
Yep.
There were receipts for Halloween parties that were from the 80s.
I want to hang on to those.
And then there were test ballots from 2016. They only have to be kept 22 months.
Make a motion, we destruct them.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to destroy some documents. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, treasurer appointment. So, do we have the names?
I'll make a motion to appoint, I think it's. What?
So
We gotta make
what
a
is
motion so we can talk about it.
Huh?
We gotta make a motion so we can talk about it.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll make a motion to appoint Keshia Keisha Betcher, Keisha Betcher as treasurer. I would say effective February 1st. Or we can do it anytime, couldn't we? Yeah, right now, I guess.
I'll second the motion.
We have a discussion. or-
Yeah. Now you can ask questions.
So I guess I mean, Scott, in my opinion, Scott was fairly elected by the people to serve a term out. And I don't know what it would cost the township, because he wants to finish his term, and he's very knowledgeable on the stuff, I guess. That would give him his 20 years of service in the township, but I don't know, you know, I feel like kind of just pulling a rug out. The guy ended up moving and he still wants to be a part of it. I guess I don't know the process to have him finish his term and let the people, you know, I appreciate people stepping up, and I guess I don't know the avenue right or wrong to go. But a guy served the community for 18 years, so that just, guy moves and just, sorry to see you. And to me, it doesn't sit well. I appreciate the work he's done. I think he's done a great job. So if it gets him 20 years of service, if it's a reasonable option, I'd be.
Well, you don't need
Interesting.
20 years of service for his pension. I think PERA, you just need 3 or 5 years and he gets his pension rights. So 20 years don't mean anything.
If I could say something. Last summer, we sat here and I tried to get a question on the ballot to avoid this situation. And he chose not to reveal to any of you what was going on and asked that treasurer be taken off the question and that the question only go on the ballot if no one ran for clerk. full disclosure.
I don't know if he knew, because I knew some things that were going on for a while that you know, nobody knows what life's gonna throw at you, and I guess if I filed a serve for 18 years and, if people elect me to keep doing that, I guess I don't, you know, people go through tough times and have different things, and I don't hold that against somebody, I guess, but there's 3 people up here, there's people that can talk, I just appreciate 18 years of service, and I think he's done the community very well, so that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. The only thing I look at is, we were having trouble finding anybody, and in 2 years, we're gonna be back in the same boat, because he can't run for election in 2 years, because he's not a registered voter, so we'd be back to right in the same position. This lady's willing to do it. She told us she'd
She's
do it.
willing to do it, and she wants to do it, and she's got, that's her background, is finance.
And I would sooner have a resident in these positions
Yeah.
than a non-resident.
Dave?
I'm not fully aware of the history, and I'm pleased to be corrected on any of this, but if, as I understand it, the township is currently configured in a way that the treasurer is elected, and then
Yes.
the current elected treasurer is moved out of the township, which we understand to mean they can't serve as treasurer. And so if, I mean, you could argue about whether or not we have authority to appoint somebody. If you do have authority, it would have to be, I think it would have to be on an interim basis, pending clarification if we're gonna put on the ballot the question of whether or not you can appoint, or whether there's gonna be a special election wherein this person can run and continue to serve. So there's a couple of companion questions that go along with this, and just setting aside right now, the question about whether or not you can appoint an interim, which probably do, if the current treasurer is technically disqualified by reason of non-residence. There are these companion questions that relate to going forward, will you be holding a special election to endorse a candidate, or will you be asking the voters to authorize you to appoint candidates in the future?
Yeah, if we appoint him, we could have, end up spending money on a special election just for this.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I was looking at that statute, and I can't find where it says that he has to be a resident. And he's been elected, and I don't know that he's automatically disqualified because he doesn't live in the township anymore. The statute doesn't say so. And the statute says that if he totally vacates the office, so there really is a vacancy, you're supposed to appoint until the next election, so you don't have to have a special election. And that's 367-03 is the statute, and it addresses all of that. So this came up before, so I was looking it up.
You know, personally myself, I don't care what the statutes say.
Well, you've got to care about it.
Well, no, let me finish. I would sooner take care of this problem now and appoint somebody that we got willing to do it that is a resident.
Well, I think you have to have a procedure, either he resigns, or you have to kind of have a hearing to terminate him for some reason, and then you see how it applies, but he's been elected, I don't think you just automatically ignore that.
The wording when it's like you can't run for that office, but it could be, I don't know.
What do you think of that, Dave?
I think it's one of those things where you could be benefited by a written opinion that outlines the requirements and the options. And if you want to address it at a special meeting, or you want to address it at your next meeting, I might invite that, but it's something to be careful of. I asked the question too. I need to see the authority for the proposition that a party can't serve if they're not in the township. And at least the information that I uncovered was that there's, some constitutional mandate on that. So I think with the board's indulgence, I might ask that we be given an opportunity to put a recommendation information in writing for you so that you have that. There's no question that this very type of thing puts you in a tough spot because parties supposed to be, the electoral officials are supposed to come from the township and be in the township. Kind of period of the story. So I'll get that opinion to you if you know, if you're willing to give it a couple of days or a week or two, what have you.
Yeah, I'm willing to go along with that. Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah,
Keep us out of trouble.
and,
You care now?
January
Well-
18th is, what's that meeting again? Oh, that's a board of audit. We could do it that day,
January,
January 18th.
Well, we'd have to post that, have us, because,
or you could continue this meeting to that date,
Yeah,
in which case then you wouldn't have to worry about posting it, it'd be a continuation, table the matter until that date.
okay. We'll do that. You can-
Yeah, if you don't close this meeting, it's still.
I'll withdraw my motion then.
okay.
Would it be worth having a conversation with Scott then, since you two are overriding, and see if he just wants to resign? Should I talk to?
Yeah, you can, yeah, go ahead.
I can do that.
See what he thinks. I'm gonna,
Well, I know what he thinks.
yeah. Any other business, any new business?
Yeah, how about the Kulo property, Dave? Are you involved in that? Want to explain where we're at, or if you want our
Well,
2 cents worth?
good evening. I'm Tracy Ryman, I'm with Minspec, I'm also your code enforcement official. With regards to the property with 9020 Great Log Trail South. There's been progress made, and not everything has been removed yet. It kind of staged there, but I mean, from where it was a year ago, there's been a considerable improvement.
Yeah.
He still has some of the bigger items that he has to move out, and he's having a problem with the fact that he doesn't have a truck big enough to tow some of these trailers. So he's gonna have to borrow one from work, is what he's telling me. But I mean, as for, you know, the junk and stuff in the yard, that's gone. You know, the stuff. Right now,
How
we've got
how many trailers have you have? 1 or 2?
trailers.
RV
I
there
would
still?
Yeah, there's at least 3, maybe 4. There's 2 in the driveway right now that he's emptied once, and now he's back and he's loading up appliances in it now. So he's been filling that one. The one behind it, I just quickly drove by with my flashlight tonight, just to get an idea. But other than that, I mean, the other thing obviously is the RV. It had run, excuse me.
That was in 1950, what?
We had that Christopher Twitter due to be gone.
No. So the RV was operable. It is no longer operable. So it's licensed, but until it's proven operable, he needs to do something. You know, get it out of there, or whatever the case may be.
In the back of the property, there's a couple of truck body vans back there.
Yep.
Them are his property too.
Yeah, there's a box from a truck that
Yeah.
looks like a Ryder truck box.
Yeah, I think there's 2 of them back there.
There's one there, and there's actually a shed back there.
Okay, all right.
So the box is basically empty. He needs a way to get in there and lift that sucker out and get it out of there.
You know, he's got a way to get all that crap out because we live down there and go by there every day. And for 2 weeks straight, he had a semi and a 40-foot trailer parked in the driveway to put stuff in. That front end loader's sitting there for 2 weeks straight. Don't believe him when he tells you he don't have a way to get it out. He found a way to get it in.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I want to make sure gets done is, I see the easement was going back and forth, and it's, well, what you quoted ain't really what what's there, and, there's this misunderstanding of what he's expected to get rid of and what he's not expected to get rid of. He's twisting it all around.
Yes. Yes.
So I wouldn't mind seeing if, next time you go over there, take a picture of it. This is what I'm talking about. Don't try to describe it, just put it in the picture.
We have that, I mean,
Okay.
and the previous code enforcement person
Okay.
has that.
Okay.
We talked about the town parcel truck, it's actually a van, trailer, that was supposed to go, he knows that.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the one he plans to take to his sons as soon as, he gets the other vehicle that he took out of there.
Okay.
Try to get that going. But yeah, I mean, semi-trailers, all that kind of stuff, it's all gone, bolts are all gone,
Yeah.
all the plastic, barrels are gone. Behind the house really is the pavers, which are building materials.
Yeah.
So I'm not concerned about that, but it's the vehicles.
He's got that old backhoe attachment laying there that's
Yep.
scrap.
Yeah, he pulled it out from somewhere, but
Yeah.
it's been moved.
So what do you want Dave to do then when they go to court here in 2 weeks, or don't go to court, or screws up Dave's vacation here?
So that's scheduled for February 5th, members of the board, that's scheduled for trial, Washington County District Court. We'll go forward with that if we have to, but we certainly would appreciate if at long last he finalizes these removals. And so I had a couple of questions for Tracy. Tracy, do you think that he understands that that box has got to come out of there, the truck body box?
The rider box?
Yeah.
In the back, yeah.
He understands that that's got to go.
He wanted to convert it into a accessory building. I said no.
Okay. And then,
He knows.
there's a yellow tractor that with the front loader on it that, is that planned to go as well? Not the big
Yes.
loader, but the small.
Yes, yes, the yellow one there.
Yeah. So, do you think you've got a clear understanding with them that?
If he doesn't now, when I meet with him again, again, he's had umpteen letters, all of them with pictures and descriptions. He knows what's expected. He's playing a little bit of a game there,
Okay.
but we're happy to hammer it down. There isn't much left to discuss.
We'll remind him that the town, that if we have to go further again, that the township seeks costs on this from him. And we don't want to do that, voluntary compliance is key, but, so we had a court hearing the other day, the judge took a pretty dim view of his approach since October, and encouraged voluntary correction.
Okay, as long as you,
When you go back there, can you
Yep.
give me a call?
Sure.
You got my number?
I'll get it afterwards or whatever.
Okay.
so do you need anything from us then, or no?
So it almost sounds like maybe, should we be just sending out a certified letter to him from the township with just crystal clear one more time, just for the heck of it, and a date on it? Like that we need this voluntary compliance by, just to,
I think that that's probably most effective if it comes from Tracy verbally at this point, and then I can capture it in one final letter to his lawyer. He's not an unsophisticated individual, he understands this. He's an engineer. I'm told he has a good job and he does good work there. It is really regrettable that the costs associated with somebody's failure to do that then get borne by everybody else in the township. So we're trying to do our best to keep costs to a bare minimum, but I have no hesitation in saying that that's an inequitable arrangement. And so we'll make that clear one final time in hopes for a clean sweep here.
Okay, thank you.
No, and when I go out there, I will request his attorney to be there again. He's been there on all these meetings.
Oh, he has?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been there every time, so he understands it too. He actually pointed them out to me. This needs to be done, this needs to be done, so he understands as well. And obviously, the letter, I'm assuming, so.
His attorney needs to charge him more.
Okay, anything else?
Nope.
No, I will do that.
Okay, thank you very much.
You bet.
Okay, I'll make a motion motion to continue this meeting.
Here, I got one other thing for other.
So-
Well, I was just gonna say, I don't know, I guess I'd encourage both you guys to read that noise ordinance that came in for the planning commission, to just read through it and just take a look at it, pros and cons. And then the other thing, we got an email this week for dogs running. To my knowledge, Diesel has been rehomed. Diesel no longer lives there, and then they did an investigation with our animal control, and to my knowledge, he does not have a dangerous dog anymore. They took both those away from him after doing their investigation. So his dogs are not held to stipulations outside of normal animal stuff, so.
I don't think he's telling you the truth.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
We can follow up with animal control on that if we have to.
Already on that, I've had a couple of 3 complaints, so I did contact animal control, and they're on it.
They're on a dangerous dog?
They're not on the dangerous dog, they're on, the complaints were that there's dogs running, and they shouldn't be, and, they're gonna plan a visit with them.
Okay. If you talk, yeah, do you wanna follow up, or should I call her and ask them if?
Nope, I'll follow up.
To find out if they're dangerous or not, because he had told me that both those are not dangerous, and then Diesel's rehomed. And I haven't seen Diesel there, I don't know if any of the neighbors have, but.
I'll follow up.
Okay, I'll make a motion to
I
continue.
got one more thing.
Okay.
Seeing Cheryl's been probably busier in the last month than she was before training. What would you think about at least giving her half pay for the month of January for all the time she spent with training our new clerk?
I think that's a really good idea.
I make a motion to give the clerk half her normal monthly salary for the month of June for aiding and helping our new clerk.
Of January. Not June.
Oh, I say June? January.
Well, second. Let's vote on.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Then I want to thank Pam and Phil Dupre for cleaning this place up. Came over here a few weeks ago. And
Bill,
despite-
really?
You told me to help.
You put on a light bulb.
Is there a
Come on.
cooler beer here? I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, I want to thank you for that. Place looks pretty good.
Yeah, thank you.
Good.
Okay, anything else?
No.
Now, make a motion to,
Continue the meeting?
can't adjourn, no, continue the meeting, yeah,
Till what time and when? We got to say that.
till January 18th,
6:30.
6:30.
Okay. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.